Hello, and welcome to Everyday People with the Community Relations Board. I'm your host, Blaine A. Griffin, Executive Director of the Community Relations Board. Today, I have a topic near and dear to my heart, and we have with us Bishop Prince Moultry. How you doing, Bishop Moultry? Good to see you. And we also have Mike Black. We call him Beezy Baby. Beezy Baby. Welcome. We're going to talk about stopping the violence and using the hip-hop culture and young people to promote a message of stopping the violence in our community. But Bishop, I want to start with you first. You do great outreach in the community. Tell us about your outreach in the community. Who is your targeted audience? And what should be the church's role in reaching out to stop the violence and talk about some of these social ills in our community?
You know, I'm an ordained minister, a servant of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and first and foremost, all that we do to the honor and the glory of God. We are a church, meaning we are people of God concerned about the souls of man, but we're concerned about human as well as spiritual conditions. And the targeted population that in touch a ministry, in touch with the community to the glory and honor of God, we are targeting the hurting, the underprivileged, be young or old, emotional stress, anger management, HIV and AIDS, many young black males without a father. How can we talk about a heavenly father when they don't know who the human father is? We are a church that goes beyond call of duty. We're here to serve. And, you know, many pastors, we want to be served, but we are here to serve the hurting. Our targeted population are hurting individuals, and you cannot address violence until you address the hurt.
Bishop, being a man of faith myself, belonging to Mount Sinai Church and understanding what needs. Thank you, Pastor Matthews, good man. I understand I like your mission so much because it's not just within the four walls of the church. It's out in the community. It's out with the people out there that some people consider the undesirables, the prostitutes, the guys that are hustling, the guys that are formerly incarcerated. Tell us why you chose that population and how do you work with that group? And give us some tactics.
First of all, I'm very uncomfortable around church folks. Many are arrogant, stuck on self. Many think they have a special blunt card to get into heaven. Jesus had problem with religious people. I didn't say Christian folk, but religious people. That's why the word says pimps and prostitutes will enter the kingdom before some of the religious people. God was about, they asked Jesus, says, why do your master hang around pimps and prostitutes? And you know what he said? He said, I came to call those who are sick. Our ministry is about the sick, the hurting. And that even can be pastors. Many pastors are hurting. Many pastors that have a collar around their neck, female as well as male, are hurting. And so we have to address their hurt and their pain. And so we are a church that deals with the hurting, the individuals from the top up to the bottom, from the bottom up to the top. Yeah.
That's great. I like to see that. Highways and byways.
Yes,
like I tell everybody, boardrooms and streets.
Yes,
you got to be able to connect the both in order to be effective in our communities. I think your grassroots approach is great. Now, you believe in using young people and really to try to get the message out to be, to tell everybody to promote, stopping the violence in our community. And you brought with us today Beezy Baby.
Beezy Baby.
All right. I know your mama called you Mike Black. So, Mike Black, Beezy Baby. I'm going to call you Beezy for the sake of this show. Tell us about yourself and tell us about, your message about how you guys try to promote stopping violence in the community.
Well, my name is Michael Black. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised on Huff, down the way. And my message was, by me seeing violence everywhere I go, do everyday life, and news and stuff, I'm going to do something to give back to the community, saying stop the violence. It's more out here to do than be on streets, corners, robbing, stealing, all that stuff. So I came with the song, Stop the Violence with Darius, to give back to the community. It's something out here you do positive other than doing something negative.
A lot of people need to hear that message. You say you're from Huff, down the way. Did everybody hear that? Huff, down the way. Brother from the neighborhood. And I can imagine you probably have some friends or some folks that you know that might have got caught up in the vicious cycle of violence, might have gotten caught up in the prison industrial complex. So that gives you a point of experience. Tell us a little bit about some of the folks that you might have encountered growing up and how you stayed on a positive track like you do.
Well, with me, I seen everything growing up, but me, myself, I try to stay away from it, so I don't get influenced from people outside hanging on corners. I'll probably be in a house somewhere, watch TV or something, to avoid all anything that could bring me down. I'll try to avoid that all possible.
That's late. Now tell me, how do you keep your street cred? Okay, you keep your street cred when the industry, and the hip hop industry, is promoting violence. It promotes heavy sexuality. It promotes all of the negative factors, you know, drinking, drugs, all of the other things that are negative factors for young people. How do you keep your street cred to get the message across on a positive message when you're dealing with so many negative messages out here?
It was me, I never been in an environment, so it wasn't as hard to keep my street creds, do something positive. It wasn't that hard because I never really, you know what I'm saying, did all that negative stuff, so it wasn't that hard.
Now, see, I understand the origins of hip hop, Bishop. I guess I'm getting old. I remember when the first hip hop came out, when we first started listening to Run DMC and Eric B and Rakim and, you know, all the old school guys. Then I remember when I got in high school, it kind of changed and made a shift when you had NWA and Ice Cube and some of these other guys. You know, tell us about the evolution of hip hop. And a lot of people don't know this, but it was originally started as a movement and as a culture to prevent violence.
Yes.
So it actually has become something that it was actually originated to stop with Africa Bambaataa and all of these guys that used to get together. Tell us about the evolution of it.
Well, you know, one of the things I want to say also, I'm going to have bragging rights as his pastor, because we can talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Michael is in college right now.
That's awesome.
He has a woman in his life, but not a drama queen. He doesn't drink and do drugs. And he's very selective of what type of rap music he's talking about. You understand what I'm saying? See, we can talk the talk, but he's walking the walk. The Bible says your education is your life. So many times our anger and our violence has to do with what we don't have that we can get but won't do. Did you feel me on that? And so I have bragging rights as his pastor because he's don't have babies. You know how many times I see young males in court? What do you tell a young man with 5 kids, 21 years old, on probation, got a child support case? You need a miracle, bro. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we can dig a hole so deep that only God can pull us out of it because we make a mess even messier. So I want to have bragging rights. Thank you for letting me have that commercial break.
I'm glad that you got
But you know, when
rights.
Tupac started this rap thing, it was about the system, the government, oppression, hurting people, poor people, broke people. How do we respect our queens? And now rap has taken an entirely different tone of hurt and pain and anger. Who's dishing who? Who's talking about who? Now I gotta not be around your boys because I'm dishing you in my rap music. It has taken a complete turn of what it should not have been. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician. I want to rap about go to school, get your degree, get off the street, be like me or something. I don't know. Come up with something. But this rap is not doing that. We're disrespecting our women. It has taken a flip-flop approach. And we can't talk about violence until we start with what we're sending out as a message.
Right, and Bishop, you're right. And I would only disagree with you to one thing, and that's what the industry sells.
Yes.
That's what they want to sell to the mainstream. You got this gentleman here, Beezy, and you got another gentleman we're going to bring on in a minute that's promoting positive rap, and the industry execs will give them a harder time of getting a contract because they're talking about the right thing to do as opposed to they would some guy that's actually talking about all of these negative things.
Well, let me disagree with you agreeably. The Bible says what a man thinketh, that's what he or she becomes. And what I mean is that he could rap positive, but the artist won't buy it. It's just supply and demand. Right. See, our thinking is messed up because now rap music is really raising a generation. That's not the artist's fault that your mama had a baby that she wasn't ready for. That's not the artist's fault that your daddy is not there for you. So now I think as a musician and an artist and songwriter, we got to be careful to take the responsibility that mama messed up, daddy messed up. Now I got to help parent this listener in some positive ways. Am I right?
Oh, definitely, Bishop. I think that's my point exactly. I agree with you totally.
Yeah.
I tell people this all the time. I am a big cowboy movie fan. I'm talking about all the way back to the old black and white. Now, see, I'm gonna even get to that point. The Cowboys, the Three Stooges, and it wasn't anything for Bugs Bunny to take a big brick and put it in the glove and smack Elmer Fudd or whoever upside the head.
That's right.
My point being is that, and then you know the N word that always is used so pervasive in the hip hop music. I heard that back in 1971. It's still a quote from Ice Cube. You know, so. Violence didn't just start, and it didn't just, you know, and it, you know, I think Beezy's talked about it before the show. It didn't just start with this. So how do we actually take the framework of what we're trying to do and put it in the context to promote nonviolence and to promote stopping the violence and in the midst of all of this industry and all of this commercialism to make people enthusiastic about violence?
You know, I wish a rap artist would write a song to fathers. Come back home and do what you're supposed to do. You see, it's one thing to make a baby, but it's another thing to take responsibility of a baby. I wish somebody would write a rap song about mothers Stop putting your kids in grown folks' business. I was at on Lorraine, the Family Dollar store the other day. Mike was with me. He just celebrated his birthday yesterday. He turned 21 years old. And it was two black women. It has nothing to do with color, because I'm sure other races do this well. And they were talking so loud about all the men in their life and the drama, and they hate brothers. And it was a precious 13-year-old daughter. And the Spirit of the Lord said, pull her over. I pulled that mother over. I said, you're setting your daughter up for failure already. She's hearing your mess. She's hearing your anger. She's hearing your frustration. Rap artists got to deal with these issues. You can't do nothing with nobody's children until you get to the parent or parents. Sisters are tired of being the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the caretaker. They don't have no time. They angry. You know, they go and spend hours in the beauty parlor, come out with nice nails, good. I love women that smell good and smelling good, but there's anger and hurt and just tired all on their face. Rap artists need to write about that. But what we write about, they write about. Come on, let's get this right, Bishop. They write about what they experience in life, what they see every day, 24/7. Go beyond the hood and see that there's other things besides domestic violence, gang violence, sagging pants. You know, when I go to Cleveland Heights and see the Jewish community going to school, and the Jewish community staying in school, and don't see kids outside on the steps of the school, and then come in the hood and see the madness, it just gives me, I get angry. I don't make no violence, but I get angry.
I agree. But I tell people all the time that we have to have high expectations of ourselves.
Yes,
and
yes.
this gentleman here, you know, on face value, you got a lot of people that have cast aspersions on him and say, oh, look at him, he got tattoos, he got his fitted hat, he got on a white T-shirt, he must be. But here's a guy, like you said, that's doing outstanding, phenomenal things. So our community has to realize that just because these guys grow up in a different culture, that's not who they are. Who they are is who they are inside.
You know, we had somebody come to church one time, and they had their hat on. This was about an 18-year-old guy. And he didn't take his hat off. And one of the deacons said, Bishop, make him take his hat off. Somebody said, Bishop, make him take his hat off. I ain't telling that man, I'm not concerned about what's on his head. I'm trying to get in his head. You know, before service was over, that man took his hat off on his own. We as adults, we want to work it within our comfort zone. But Jesus came out of the box. And until we as pastors and spiritual leaders and imams and Jewish leaders and just the community at large come out of the box, we're not going to be able to do anything for the hurting young black males that are really hurting out here.
Now, Beezy Baby, I got to tell you, you tore it up in Mayor's Night Out Against Crime. You ripped it. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was oh man, all of y'all did a great job.
They wrote the song.
Y'all did a great job, and I'm going to make sure that everybody sees that, because that was great. And we're going to take a break for a minute, but Bishop, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about how we promote spirituality, how we promote faith-based and values in our community amidst all of this, because like I said, violence didn't just start today. It's been a generational curse upon us. So I want to get back to that in a minute. We'll be back with Everyday People with the Community Relations Board. Thank you.
Man, we need to stop this killing.
Stop the violence.
Man, we need to stop this killing. Man, we need to stop this killing.
Stop the violence.
We are back with Everyday People with the Community Relations Board. Once again, I'm your host, Blaine A. Griffin, Executive Director of the Community Relations Board. And once again, I have a topic near and dear to my heart, which is stopping violence to our community. Last couple of weeks, 7 young men shot in our community. A couple of these young men I've known. The hardest part of this job is watching young people and mothers having to grieve because young people are shot. I remember your Cookie Thomases, your Brandon Marshalls, and you know, the latest with Savante Williams and some of these other young African-American children who have their whole life ahead of them that are being victims of senseless crime. Victims, you know, Bishop, I could just tell you that it's unbelievable, and it drives me nuts. I have to ask, spirituality. How do we promote more spirituality? How do we keep these young folks out of jail? And how do we keep them from either being judged by 12 or carried by 6? How do we keep them focused on education in their future? What can we do, Bishop? Because sometimes their parents can't do it. Sometimes these mothers are overwhelmed. When you got 60 to 65 to 70% of our community single-parent households, a lot of fathers incarcerated. I feel like it's my role. These are my children, too. What can we do as a community, as a church, and some of these other folks to step up and fill that void?
We've got to have hard praying right now. We've got to really do serious inventory on ourselves, from the guttermost to the uttermost, from the parent to the grandmother and grandfathers. We've got to do some serious praying for a great intervention right now, because I constantly say you can't make sense out of what don't make sense. Spirituality is something on the inside that gives you the tenacity that you need to do on the outside. That's how the civil rights movement did. They were willing to die for the rights of black folk. Now we got to be willing to die for the life of our people. And bias has no color, but particularly there's something happening within the village, within our community. We've got to go into serious prayer. And we also have to understand, too, that Jesus said the poor will be with you always. Some people are not going to change. They're full of anger. Yvonne and I were talking about love, letting go of anger, letting go, learning how to forgive. They rather not forgive and be angry than to forgive and become a new person. So we have to go into serious inventory. Spirituality is something that gives you what you need to get through what you need to get through when you're going through something. We're going through a great deal. In the song Stop the Violence, Mike says in his verse that here's a mother got to see her child on the ground. You know, how you see your child on the ground dying before your very eyes and then jump back up and do right. That's anger. That's hurt. That's pain. Spirituality is something that God's going to give us what we need to do, what we need to have done.
And Bishop, you see it. I see it. I'm pretty sure these young men, by the way, we're joined by Darius Coleman.
Yeah.
I always like to call you by what your mama or your daddy or your folk, your people in them named you. Darius Coleman, but it's AKA Kid Ghost.
Kid Ghost.
Kid Ghost. I like that. But, you know, I like how you're utilizing the young people, because you said this to me, is that sometimes these young folks, they don't want to hear what we all have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 boys, and one thing is sometimes them guys look at me like, you know, man, you outdated. You know, you're not hip. You know, you don't know what we're really going through. And you know, I heard somebody once say that eventually they'll come around. Mm-hmm. But I like at this moment, at this time, how you utilize these young guys. Darius, tell us how you utilize your talents and your gifts in order to try to stop the violence in this city.
It's basically because I got a heart for the younger people. It's okay to get like the other different parts of people, like what they want through your music, but at the same time you gotta be like, it's still like we still got kids in the city, and like I got nieces, so I know how it is. So
right, and that's what I tell people, that imagine if they were just your own. See, that's we so far removed from other people that we don't look at everybody as a community. But imagine if it's like we own. But I would tell you, Darius, and maybe you could speak from your perspective, that a lot of young people get affiliated with some of these groups in the community, these gangs, for lack of a better word, and other negative behavior, because they say they get the love. They get the love from the streets that they don't get at home, or they get the love from their boys in the hood. I got to tell you this. I had an honor roll student that once told me, great school, honor roll student, great kid, and live in the hood, and said, you know, why you acting up? He said, because these my boys. These, you know, this is my fam. You know, tell us how we address those kind of things, dealing with that kind of competition out here.
it's simply for me, it's just like you ain't got to follow the crowd. I never followed the crowd in the school or whatever. I got turned down, a bunch of females, played by a bunch of dudes, all because I was trying to be a leader, not following the crowd. In order to be a leader, through whatever, you have to go through that type of stuff, you know, them type of things.
They say with leadership, they say the higher a leader climbs up a tree, the thinner the branches get.
Oh, yeah.
You get lonely at the top, brother. I'm telling you, people that were used to be your friends, you know, that's why I commend you for having the courage and really getting out there and taking this message of what you're trying to do.
You know, both in Michael's music and Darius' music, Darius talks about the pain of having a single mother, seeing her struggle, a grandmother who passed, who was the foundation of the family. Mike acknowledges a lot of the things he's gone through, seeing his mother. You know, many mothers are loved by their sons, and they hate to see their mothers struggle. And so I commend Darius. He gets beat down and beat up because Darius is a leader, not a follower.
Right.
He has his own style. He has his own creativity. And many of our young girls, they don't want a man no more. They just want a male. They don't want what's between his ears, but what's between his legs. So that whole thing is just backwards right now. Yeah. And so when you get artists like Darius, and you get artists like Deontay, who's going to be on the show, you get artists like Beezy Baby, they can change the trend. I saw a fight yesterday, and the police was telling the young man to stop, and he wouldn't stop. And so it was 3 of his homies that said, man, it ain't worth all this. And the young man stopped. Now, I would have listened to the police, but the police was very happy that he listened to the 3 young men.
Right.
And so there's some things that Darius and Deontay and Beezy Baby can do that I can't do. As a bishop and a pastor, as a community leader, as a man of God, there's some things I just cannot do. God can do these things, but he uses us as his extension of his arm. So we take peers and we let peers address peers. What makes this concert so unique is that at the next concert, there are going to be anger management counselors there in the cuts of Peabody's room. There's going to be somebody talk to a woman or girl that's pregnant. A young man might have AIDS. A young man might be on drugs or selling drugs, really want to break the cycle. They ain't going to come to church. The people of God must go where they are. We must work outside the box. And while we meet, they thugging. I'm so sick of educated people having meetings. You're meeting. If here is a meeting, I don't know. I don't need another meeting. God wants workers and ambassadors. So we've got to really reach out to Darius's and Deontay's and Michael's and say, we got your back. Y'all go out there to these young folk and talk to them.
Preach, Bishop. And that's why we have like non-traditional leadership, formerly incarcerated guys and other folks that work on as volunteers with our department to reach out to youth and gangs, affiliated guys and everything else. And we use those kind of non-traditional manners, because like I said, they're going to respond to somebody differently if I show up in a suit and tie than they would somebody that's actually dressed like them, can relate to them, talk the lingo, etc. But I got to get to this point. And Darius, I like your point of view, and Bishop, I like for you to chime in. There's an editorial today. I'm not going to mention where the editorial was at, but it basically said, they just tolerate all of that violence in the city of Cleveland, that the city of Cleveland tolerates violence, as if there's no violence in the inner or outer ring suburbs or cornfields of America or all these other places. And I could just recall, Bishop, what happened in Norway, which was a tragedy, a very tragic event, and so much other things. We got 2 wars. We got a culture that's inundated with violence. Why do you think they always focus it on the city? And
I bet you Cleveland Heights learned something around their event, the flash mob. I bet you Shaker learned something. Am I right about it? Now, them weak folks over there, they are now calling me. Well, Bishop, we want to really be concerned about the violence. You know why? Because the folk from Cleveland, come on, somebody, went over to Shaker in Cleveland Heights. The problem of violence is everybody's problem. I'm going to tell you something. There's some rich white boys that got some anger management issues. We just get the publicity. Let's keep this thing real, huh? I don't know why they funnel and focus on young black males, but I know a whole lot of white males that are in worse shape. Hello? Okay, so violence has no color. But I think that we as the people of God, the community, we must address the issue of violence, whether we in Pepper Pike or Pleasant Valley. Because if you don't get in our environment, some kind of way, we're going to be where you at.
That's right. Darius, what you think about it?
Man, to keep it real, violence is just a part of human nature, period. That's just period. It ain't about, he black, he got tattoos, he do that. So we got to watch out for him. Hide your furniture, this and that, and nothing like that. It's like, it ain't got no color. You got violence, more violence going on in the Middle East. More violence going on, more gun and gang wars, violence going on the border down there with the drugs and all that, drug cartels and all that.
Right.
We just need publicity.
They're trying to make it an inner city problem. But I do have to say this though, and I agree, and that's my debate always with everybody. Right. I tell people, you compare a small sector of Cleveland that's approximately 40 to 45,000 people and compare it to some of these suburbs, their statistics will be way higher than ours. But it's not the fact of, it's their problem, our problem. Like you said, Bishop, it's all of our problem. And we all got to address it.
But we must keep it real as well. The Bible says your education is your life guarded. If I have education, if I have good job skill training, if I have a job, if I feel good about taking care of my family, my woman, if I feel good that I can buy my children what they need, then it's going to be less violence. That has nothing to do with spirituality yet. You know what I'm saying? You can be an atheist and have a good income and have good morals and values, but there's no spirituality. I prefer to have the spirituality and love and know the Lord and have everything. That's my opinion. So a lot of the frustration in the hood with all this violence taken care of, what do these young brothers have in common? No high school diploma, no GED, tired of a sister yelling at them because she paid a cost to be the boss. They got a baby. You know, when you're frustrated and don't know how to manage that frustration, then you're going to act up and act out. That's violence. So we got to deal with the root cause of the outcome, I think.
I agree with you. It's always socioeconomic. Yeah. You guys have a concert. I'm going to be closing in a minute, but I want to announce your concert. When is it going to be? What time? Give us the details.
Well, I want Darius to say it, but I'm going to say it real quick so we run out of time. It's going to be at Peabody's on September the 8th, a Thursday night. Doors open at 8 o'clock. Showtime starts at 10 o'clock p.m. Women, our queens, get in free of any color from 8 till 10. Sisters, get in free. So come on, sisters, pack the house out. Darius is our featured artist. He's going to close the show out. We got some dynamic artists on program. We got a female rap artist going to throw the house down, take the house down. And we're going to just invite everybody. 10 o'clock, show starts. After 10 o'clock, you got to pay your $10. So get in there, sister, before 10. Or bring a brother that can pay your $10 after 10 o'clock.
I'm going to close, and I'm going to come back to Darius in a minute. And I want to thank everybody for joining us for this episode of Everyday People. Once again, I'm your host, Blaine A. Griffin, and today is a serious topic. We had a lot of fun, but it's a serious topic. Oh, yeah. We have to stop the violence, and we got to do the right thing in our community. But I'm going to end a little different today. Darius, I want you to give me a couple of bars. I want you to, for those of people who don't know what bars are, I want you to put together a little something for us, man, to close us out. And then I also am going to end with the performance that you guys did at Mayor's Night Out Against Crime. Thank you. Darius.
This poem called My Generation. Good morning. Hold on. Am I really dreaming? This ain't my future. Drug dealings, attitude steaming. 9 murders in 3 weeks. Is Cleveland smoking? The mistake gone and late. God, is you joking? But it's my generation, and it feels real strange. Guess it'd be up to me if not us, to make a change. But it's hard when young females sell themselves for change, and young black males like, where the girls, man? High authority incorporate drugs and get them trapped. But we so blind, we couldn't get out if we had a map. My generation, yeah, most of us some dang fools. We crank that Soldier Boy, smoke weed like you. We KKK kill each other like some dang fools. Get us some knowledge, we'll drown in the kiddie pool. But I guess I'm dumb cause I'm a rapper, only 21, y'all. But think like I'm 41, they like, oh no. But what else can I say? The expression on my face, the world is cold, mine is freezing, but I'm saved by grace. Kid Ghost. That's the mixtape.
You got it. Mixtape right here. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Everyday People.
Man, we need to stop this killing. Man, we need to stop this killing.
Stop the violence.
Man, we need to stop this killing. Man, we need to stop this killing.
Stop the violence.
Man, we need to stop this killing. Man, we need to stop this killing.
Stop the violence.
Man, we need to stop this killing. Man, we need to stop this killing.
This kid Ghost. I'm trying to stop the violence. I'm trying to chill, relax, and be fly like a pilot.